I stared at my reflection, adjusting the emerald silk blouse I'd chosen for tonight's dinner. My husband Uriah's arms wrapped around my waist from behind, his chin resting on my shoulder. "We don't have to go," he whispered, but we both knew we did. "I'm Trinity, and for the past 8 years, I've watched my family treat the love of my life like he's nothing more than a failed dreamer." Tonight was my parents' 40th anniversary dinner, and I could already feel the familiar knot forming in my stomach. "Your sister called again," Uriah said, releasing me to grab his leather jacket. "Asked if we needed directions to the fancy part of town." He laughed, but I caught the hurt in his eyes. "Palmer can shove her directions up her—" "Hey!" He caught my hand, spinning me to face him. "I'm used to it. Remember what matters. You believed in me when no one else did." I thought back to the first time I brought Uriah to meet my family. He just quit his office job to pursue music full-time, and my parents acted like I brought home a homeless man. My sister Palmer nearly choked on her wine when he mentioned wanting to tour internationally. "He'll grow out of it," my mother had said later that night, patting my hand like I was a child. "Everyone has their artistic phase." 8 years later, they were still waiting for him to grow out of it. My phone buzzed, a text from Leo, my best friend. "Ready for tonight's show?" "Not even close," I typed back. Uriah was checking his phone, too, a mysterious smile playing on his lips. "Knox just hit 50 million streams on the new single," he said casually. My heart swelled. Knox, his masked alter ego, was currently the biggest name in alternative rock. Not that my family knew that. They thought he still played at dive bars and birthday parties. "We should tell them," I said, not for the first time. "Soon." He kissed my forehead. "The right moment will come. You'll know when to use it." The drive to my parents' estate was tense. Palmer's Tesla was already parked out front, along with my father's Bentley. Uriah pulled up in our deliberately modest Subaru, part of maintaining his cover. "Trinity," my mother's voice carried across the driveway. "Darling, that blouse is gorgeous, though perhaps a bit casual for the occasion." I forced a smile. "Hello, Mother." Palmer emerged from the house, champagne glass already in hand. "Oh, good, you made it. We were just discussing Don's new expansion plans for the dealership." She turned to Uriah with a saccharine smile. "How's the music thing going?" "Can't complain," he said mildly. "Still doing those coffee shop gigs?" my father called from the doorway. "Among other things." Inside, the house was decorated like a magazine spread. My mother never did anything halfway. Crystal everywhere, fresh flowers, catering staff hovering discreetly. My niece, Francesca, sat in a corner, headphones on, probably listening to Knox's latest album without realizing her uncle was the voice behind it. "Trinity," Palmer cornered me by the appetizers. "I've been meaning to talk to you about getting back into marketing. My friend's firm is hiring. I'm happy with my yoga studio." "Of course you are, sweetie. It's just, don't you miss having a real career?" I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood. Across the room, I watched Don, Palmer's husband, showing Uriah his new watch. 7 figures, he was saying loudly enough for everyone to hear. "You should come by the dealership sometime. We might have something entry-level." Uriah caught my eye and winked. That's when I noticed he was wearing his Knox ring, the one from his last world tour, the one worth more than Don's watch and Tesla combined. My phone buzzed again. "Leo, just saw Knox's Instagram story. Big announcement coming tonight?" I looked at Uriah questioningly. He smiled and mouthed, "Soon." "Dinner's ready," my mother announced. "Trinity, dear, help me with the wine?" In the kitchen, she touched my arm. "Sweetheart, I know you love him, but don't you think it's time Uriah considered a more stable path? Your father knows people." I stepped back. "Mother, trust me. Uriah's path is exactly where it needs to be." She sighed that martyred sigh I knew so well. "Well, let's hope he figures things out before you waste any more of your youth." As we carried the wine back to the dining room, I heard Palmer's laugh ring out. I mean, honestly, even our car washers make more than street musicians. Uriah's eyes met mine across the room, and something shifted in the air between us. The moment we'd been waiting for was coming. I could feel it. And for the first time all evening, I smiled. Really smiled. The dining room gleamed with crystal and silver, a perfect stage for the drama about to unfold. My mother had seated Uriah between Don and my father, probably hoping some of their business sense would rub off on him. So, Don swirled his wine. Tell me about these gigs of yours. Must be tough competing with real musicians these days. Uriah took a slow sip of water. It has its moments. He played at the park last weekend, Palmer chimed in, cutting into her steak. I drove past. Very quaint. What she didn't know was that playing at the park had been Uriah testing new material incognito. His last album had sold out stadiums across 3 continents. Actually, Francesca looked up from her phone. There's this amazing musician called Knox. Francesca, Palmer cut her off. We're discussing your uncle's situation, not some internet celebrity. I watched Uriah hide a smile behind his napkin. Speaking of situations, my father leaned forward. I had lunch with James from Goldman last week. They're always looking for bright young people in their HR department. That's thoughtful, Uriah said diplomatically, but I'm pretty committed to my current path. My mother sighed dramatically. Trinity, darling, don't you miss your old life? The galas, the corporate retreats? Not really, Mother. My studio is doing well, and... Oh yes, the yoga thing. Palmer rolled her eyes. How alternative of you both. Don cleared his throat. Actually, I've been meaning to mention, we're expanding the dealership's detail department. Could always use reliable people to start in the washing bay. The table fell silent. I gripped my fork so hard my knuckles went white. You know, Palmer added, it's really quite good money for someone with your background, Uriah. Plus benefits. Uriah's face remained perfectly calm. That's a generous offer. We just worry. My mother reached across the table to pat my hand. Both of you living this bohemian lifestyle. It's fine when you're young, but eventually what, Mother? Well, what about children? Security? Your sister and Don just bought their 2nd vacation home. And Don added, pulling out his phone, just ordered this beauty. He showed Uriah a photo of a luxury car. Latest model, $200,000, but worth every penny. Nice, Uriah nodded. I actually looked at one of those last month. Palmer nearly choked on her wine. You looked at one? That's ambitious. Trinity, my father's voice carried that disappointed tone I knew so well. Remember Thomas? He's made partner at his firm now. Single, too. Dad, I'm married. Yes, well... He glanced at Uriah. Life offers second chances. Francesca, bless her, tried again. But Uncle Uriah, what kind of music do you play? Because Knox's new album... Francesca, Palmer snapped. Nobody wants to hear about your internet obsessions. This is a family dinner. If she only knew her daughter was talking about the very man she was dismissing. Actually, Don pulled out a business card. Here, come by the dealership Monday. We'll start you with basic detailing, but who knows? Show some initiative, and maybe someday you'll work your way up to sales. Uriah took the card, tucking it into his pocket with the same hand that wore his tour ring. I appreciate the thought. It's really the best option, Palmer said, her voice dripping with false concern. I mean, honestly, a car washer makes more than a street guitarist. At least it's honest work. I saw something flash in Uriah's eyes, not anger, but anticipation. He reached for his phone just as mine buzzed. Knox's official Instagram had just posted, "Big reveal coming tonight. Truth has its own melody." My mother was still talking. We just want what's best for you both. There's no shame in admitting when a dream isn't working out. And what if it is working out? I asked quietly. Oh, sweetie, Palmer laughed. Let's be realistic. When was the last time Uriah played anywhere bigger than a coffee shop? Uriah checked his watch, the same model as Don's status symbol, and gave me a subtle nod. Actually, I said, reaching for my phone, about that. There's something you should see. Trinity, my mother warned. This isn't the time for our... No, Mother. I think it's exactly the time. I stood up, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. You've all been so concerned about our future. Let me put your minds at ease. Palmer rolled her eyes. What? Did he book a bar mitzvah? I met Uriah's gaze across the table. He winked, and I knew. This was the moment we'd been waiting for. Something like that, I said, walking toward the massive smart TV mounted on the dining room wall. Let me show you what your car washer has been up to. My hands didn't shake as I connected my phone to the TV. 8 years of condescension had steadied them perfectly for this moment. Trinity, Palmer's voice held a warning edge. We're having dinner. Oh, but this is dinner entertainment, I smiled. You've all been so interested in Uriah's career. It's time you saw it properly. My mother set down her wine glass. Darling, if this is another coffee shop video. Not quite. I pressed play. The massive TV screen lit up with an aerial shot of Wembley Stadium, packed to capacity. The crowd's roar filled the dining room as a masked figure emerged on stage. Knox, in his signature silver and black. What's this got to do with... Don started. Shh. Francesca leaned forward, eyes wide. That's Knox. This was his sold-out show last month. The music started. That distinctive guitar riff that had been playing on radio stations worldwide. The masked figure commanded the stage with a presence that made the stadium feel intimate. Trinity, my father's voice was tight. What exactly are you trying to prove? Just watch. On screen, Knox launched into his latest hit. Francesca was mouthing along to every word. Palmer shot her a disapproving look, then froze as she noticed Uriah silently singing along too. How do you know the words? She demanded. Uriah just smiled. The song reached its bridge, the part that had gone viral on TikTok. 50,000 people sang along, their phone lights creating a sea of stars. This is all very impressive, my mother said stiffly. But what does some celebrity musician have to do with... Mother, I interrupted. Look at his right hand. The camera zoomed in on Knox's fingers flying over the guitar strings. On his right hand gleamed a distinctive ring, identical to the one Uriah was wearing at the dinner table. Don noticed first. His eyes darted between the screen and Uriah's hand, confusion morphing into disbelief. That's not... Keep watching, I said softly. The song ended to thunderous applause. Knox stepped forward, his mask catching the stadium lights. Some of you have been asking, his electronically modified voice echoed through the stadium, who's behind the mask? Palmer's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the hardwood floor. Nobody moved to clean it up. Tonight, the figure on screen continued, the truth comes out. With one fluid motion, Knox removed his mask. The stadium erupted. On screen, Uriah's face filled the massive displays, grinning as the crowd went wild. In the dining room, you could have heard a pin drop. Francesca broke the silence with a scream. Oh my God! Uncle Uriah is Knox? Uncle Uriah is Knox? My father's face had gone pale. My mother's hand was pressed to her chest. Palmer looked like she'd been slapped. That's not possible, Don stammered. You play in parks. I test new material in parks, Uriah corrected gently. Helps keep me grounded. But, Palmer was sputtering. Your clothes, your car. We chose to live simply, I said, to see who treated us with respect regardless of what they thought we had. The ring alone, Uriah added quietly, is worth more than your Tesla, Don. My mother found her voice. Why didn't you tell us? Tell you? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. So you could mock him to his face instead of behind his back? So you could pretend you always believed in him? We were trying to help, my father protested. No, I snapped. You were trying to control, to force us into your narrow vision of success. On screen, Uriah was performing his encore, the same song Palmer had sneered at him practicing last week in the park. Francesca, Uriah spoke softly, check Knox's Instagram. She grabbed her phone, fingers trembling. It's you. You just posted the reveal. You're actually him. I have all your albums. This is absurd. Palmer stood up. This has to be some kind of trick. Your daughter has better insight than you, Palmer. I stepped closer to my sister. While you were offering my husband a job washing cars, he was selling out arenas. While you were bragging about vacation homes, he was buying recording studios. Trinity, my mother reached for me. Surely you understand we only wanted... What you wanted stopped mattering the moment you decided to treat my husband like dirt. Uriah stood up, straightening his leather jacket. Thank you for dinner. Don, I won't be needing that job after all. My phone was already buzzing with notifications. Peyton, my music blogger cousin, had shared the reveal. Knox unmasked, and he's been hiding in plain sight. We should go, Uriah said softly. I looked at my family, their shocked faces, their shattered assumptions, years of judgment crumbling in a single evening. Yes, I agreed, taking his hand. I think we've given them enough to digest for one night. Behind us, Francesca was still screaming, My uncle is Knox! And for the first time in 8 years, nobody told her to be quiet. We hadn't even reached the front door when Palmer's heels clicked rapidly behind us. Wait! Her voice had lost its usual condescending edge. You can't just drop this bomb and leave. Watch us, I said. But Uriah touched my arm gently. Let's hear it, Palmer. His voice was calm, the same voice that soothed stadiums of fans. She faltered. That's really you? On stage? The masked singer everyone's talking about? Before he could answer, Don burst into the foyer. The Knox? The one with the Super Bowl commercial? The Rolling Stone cover? Among other things, Uriah smiled. My father appeared next, looking years older than he had at dinner. Son, we should talk about this. Maybe over brandy in my study. Now he's son, I muttered. My mother rushed forward, arms outstretched. Darling, you must understand. We had no idea. All this time, playing in parks, living so modestly. Anyone would have assumed. That's exactly the problem, Mother. I cut her off. You assumed. You judged. You never once considered that success might look different than your narrow definition. Francesca pushed through the adults, phone in hand. Uncle Uriah, your reveal is trending. Look at these comments. Oh my God. Can I please tell my friends? Wait, is this why you came to my school concert last month but sat in the back? Yes, he laughed. Didn't want to cause a scene. The car washing job, Don said weakly. I offered Knox a car washing job. Don't forget the entry-level sales position, I added sweetly. Such a generous offer for someone who grossed 9 figures last year. Palmer's face went from red to white. 9 figures? The last tour alone, Uriah shrugged, broke records in 12 countries. My father stepped forward. Son, about what I said regarding Thomas making partner. Stop. Uriah's voice was firm but kind. This isn't about money. It never was. This is about respect, basic human respect. But you could have told us, my mother protested. Why? I demanded. So you could suddenly approve? So you could brag to your country club friends about your rock star son-in-law? We wanted to know who'd treat us with dignity, regardless of what they thought we had. The Range Rover dealership, Don muttered, still scrolling through Enox's social media. Last month, you said you were looking at one. Bought 3, actually, Uriah said, for the studio fleet. My phone buzzed again. Leo had texted, "It's happening! How's the family taking it?" This is just... Palmer was pacing. "This is insane. All those times I drove past you in the park." "Testing new material," Uriah nodded. "Best way to get honest feedback." The coffee shop gigs. Keeping my roots. Remembering where I started. Francesca squealed at her phone. "Your Coachella performance has 2 billion views. 2 billion. And I've been practicing guitar in my room, too scared to tell Mom, because she says musicians are losers." Palmer flinched. "Francesca," Uriah's voice softened, "never let anyone kill your dreams. Some people are so focused on their version of success, they forget success has infinite forms." My mother tried one last time. "But darling, why live so simply? With your means?" "Because," I stepped forward, "we wanted to be loved for who we are, not what we have." Clearly, we were right to wonder. The front door opened, and Peyton burst in. "Holy shit, it's true. My own cousin, married to Knox. Do you know how many times I've covered your concerts without knowing?" "Thanks for the great reviews," Uriah grinned. "This is a nightmare," Palmer whispered. "No," I corrected her. "This is karma." "Trinity," my father started. "Save it." I held up my hand. "For 8 years, you've treated my husband like a failure, made snide comments about his dreams, pushed your agenda of what success should look like. Well, here's your wake-up call." Uriah's phone chimed. "That's my manager. The reveal video just hit 10 million views." "I need a drink," Don mumbled. "Make it a double," Palmer added. "Francesca," Uriah turned to my niece, "keep playing, keep dreaming, and maybe next tour you can open for me." Her scream probably shattered windows in the next county. "We're leaving now," I announced. "I think we've given you enough to process for one evening." "But..." My mother stepped forward. "No buts, Mother. You all have some serious reflecting to do." As we walked to our car, the modest Subaru that had been part of our cover, I heard Palmer's shrill voice. "That car washing job offer. Oh God, it's going to be all over social media, isn't it?" Uriah opened my door, then walked around to the driver's side. Through the window, I could see my family still standing in the doorway, looking shell-shocked. "Ready?" he asked. I reached for his hand, the one with the tour ring that had given us away. "More than ready." As we pulled away, I caught one last glimpse of Palmer in the rearview mirror, staring at the business card she'd handed Uriah earlier, probably realizing it would become a collector's item. Sometimes revenge doesn't need violence or cruelty. Sometimes the truth is weapon enough. The notification started before we even made it home. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from family members I hadn't heard from in years. "Your cousin Maria just texted," I told Uriah. "Remember me? We played together as kids." He laughed. "Let me guess. She's a huge Knox fan?" "Apparently she has tickets to your next show. Front row." We pulled into our driveway just as Palmer's name flashed on my screen. 15 missed calls. "Should we go inside first?" Uriah asked. "No, let's hear what she has to say." I put the phone on speaker. Palmer's voice crackled through immediately. "Trinity? Thank God. Listen, we need to talk about damage control." "Damage control?" "People are already posting about Don's job offer. It's all over Twitter. The dealership's getting hate messages. You have to help us." Uriah raised an eyebrow. "Interesting. How now you want our help?" "This isn't funny." Palmer's voice rose. "Do you know what this could do to our reputation? To our business?" "Funny," I said. "I don't remember you caring about our reputation when you were mocking Uriah at every family gathering. That was different. We didn't know." "Exactly. You didn't know, but you judged anyway. Actions have consequences, Palmer." My phone buzzed with another call. My mother, this time. I declined it. "Look," Palmer's voice softened, attempting diplomacy. Maybe we can turn this around. Uriah could do a promotional appearance at the dealership. We could say it was all a planned publicity stunt. Uriah took the phone. Palmer, listen carefully. I'm not helping you save face. Your husband offered me a job washing cars while wearing a watch worth less than my guitar picks. Let that sink in. We got out of the car and headed inside. Palmer was still talking. Mother's beside herself. Dad's locked himself in his study. Francesca won't stop screaming about being Knox's niece. This is a nightmare. No, I corrected her. This is what happens when your carefully constructed facade of superiority crumbles. Trinity, please. Goodbye, Palmer. I hung up just as Leo arrived, carrying champagne. I came as soon as I could. Tell me everything. We settled in our living room, much larger and more luxurious than what my family had seen during their few reluctant visits. The modest house they knew was actually our guest house. You should see social media, Leo grinned, showing us his phone. Your sister's dealership's Yelp page is flooded with Noak's lyrics. My phone buzzed again. Peyton this time. The story's exploding. Every music blog is picking it up. Noak's, the secret life of rock's biggest mystery. Can I get an exclusive? Tomorrow, Uriah promised. Another text from Palmer. Mom's crying. Says she'll never live down offering Knox's wife career advice. Your father's secretary just called. Uriah showed me his screen. Apparently, he'd like to discuss investment opportunities. 8 years, I said quietly. 8 years of watching them tear you down, and now they know. He pulled me close. But more importantly, they showed us exactly who they are. Leo poured the champagne. To Karma. My phone lit up with a text from Francesca. Mom's having a meltdown because her friends are sharing the car wash story. But I just wanted to say I'm sorry for not standing up for Uncle Uriah before. I was scared of what Mom would say. She's a good kid, Uriah said, different from her parents. Another call from my mother. This time, I answered. Trinity, please, she began. We need to discuss this as a family. Your father's willing to apologize. We can have brunch tomorrow at the club. No, Mother. No brunch, no club, no pretending 8 years of disrespect can be erased with mimosas and forced apologies. But what will people say? The truth, Mother. They'll say you treated one of the world's biggest musicians like dirt because you couldn't see past your own prejudices. I hung up as Don's name flashed on Uriah's phone. Want to bet he's calling about that Range Rover now? Leo smirked. Uriah declined the call. Some bridges don't need rebuilding. My phone buzzed one final time. Palmer again. Fine. You've made your point. You've humiliated us. Are you happy now? I looked at Uriah, remembering every snide comment, every dismissive glance, every moment my family had tried to make him feel small. Yes, I typed back. Actually, I am. Then I turned off my phone and raised my champagne glass. To truth, I said. To truth, Uriah echoed. It's the best revenge of all. The morning after our reveal brought chaos in waves. I woke to the sound of our security system chiming. Someone was at the gate of our actual home. It's your sister, Uriah said, checking the camera feed. Should I let her in? Through the monitor, I could see Palmer's Mercedes idling at our gate, her perfectly styled hair slightly disheveled for once. Might as well face the music, I sighed. Palmer's eyes widened as she drove up our long driveway, taking in the sprawling estate she'd never known existed. This is where you actually live? She demanded as soon as I opened the door. All this time? The guest house was convenient for family visits, I shrugged. Kept things simple. She pushed past me into the foyer, her heels clicking on imported marble. Simple? There's nothing simple about this. Do you know what's happening out there? I can guess. Don's dealership is being flooded with one-star reviews. People are sharing old videos of our family gatherings where we... She trailed off. Where you what, Palmer? Where you mocked my husband? Treated him like dirt? We didn't know. That's the point, I snapped. You shouldn't have to know someone is famous to treat them with basic respect. Uriah appeared from his home studio, coffee in hand. Morning, Palmer. No job offers today? She flinched. Look, about that. Don feels terrible. We all do. But this is getting out of hand. Your fans are brutal. Fans tend to be protective, he said mildly, especially when they see someone they admire being disrespected. Mother hasn't slept. Dad's lawyer is worried about the dealership's reputation. Can't you post something? Tell people it was all in good fun? I laughed incredulously. Good fun? Like when you told your friends I was throwing my life away? Or when you suggested Uriah play at your daughter's birthday party for exposure? I was trying to help. No, you were trying to control, to force us into your narrow little box of what success should look like. Palmer sank onto our Italian leather sofa, her composure cracking. Everything's falling apart. Our social circle, our standing in the community. So funny how reputation matters now, Uriah said, sitting across from her. When you were damaging ours, it didn't seem important. My phone buzzed. Peyton had published his exclusive interview. The headline read, Naux Unmasked, How Rock's Biggest Star Lived Undercover, while his own family offered him minimum wage jobs. Palmer's phone chimed too. She looked at it and went pale. Mother's having a breakdown. The country club They're suggesting we take a break from our membership. Karma's a funny thing, I said. Trinity, please. We're family. Family? I stepped closer. Family doesn't spend 8 years tearing someone down. Family doesn't measure love by bank accounts or job titles. We were wrong, she burst out. Is that what you want to hear? We were horrible and judgmental and wrong, but please, help us fix this. Raya's phone rang. His manager's name flashed on screen. The morning shows want interviews, he said after answering. They're calling it The Ultimate Rags to Riches Revenge Story. Palmer put her head in her hands. This can't be happening. It is happening, I said, and maybe it needs to. Maybe you all need to experience what it feels like to be judged, dismissed, looked down upon. But Francesca, her friend's parents are already treating her differently. That's not on us, Uriah said firmly. That's on you and Don. Your actions, your consequences. Another chime, this time from Palmer's phone. She read the message and started crying. Don's biggest client just pulled their account, said they can't support a business that treats people that way. I felt a twinge of sympathy, quickly squashed by years of remembered hurts. Palmer, Uriah's voice was gentle but firm, go home, be with your family, process this, but don't ask us to fix what you broke. The annual charity gala, she said suddenly. You could perform. Show everyone we're on good terms. No, I cut in. No more performances. No more pretending. She stood, smoothing her designer dress with shaking hands. So that's it? You'll just let our family fall apart? You did that all on your own, I said. 8 years of chances, Palmer. 8 years of opportunities to see beyond your prejudices. The truth was always going to come out, Uriah added. The only question was how much damage you'd do before it did. Palmer walked to the door, then turned. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I know, I said, but sorry doesn't always fix things. We watched her drive away, her Mercedes looking somehow less impressive than it had yesterday. You okay? Uriah asked softly. I leaned into him. Yeah, sometimes bridges need to burn so better ones can be built. Or not built at all, he added, kissing my forehead. My phone buzzed again. Francesca, can I still come over sometimes? I promise I won't tell Mom. At least some bridges were worth saving. A week after the reveal, I was teaching my morning yoga class when I noticed an unexpected face in the back row. My mother, in designer workout wear that still had its tags on, was attempting to fold herself into child's pose. After class, she lingered as other students filed out. That was different, she said, smoothing her hair. I can see why people come here. Mother, why are you here? She sighed, looking suddenly older. Your father hasn't left his study in days. Palmer's barely speaking to anyone. The club, she swallowed hard. They suggested we take a sabbatical. And I thought maybe I could understand. This world you've chosen. I started rolling up yoga mats. I didn't choose a world, Mother. I chose happiness. I chose love. But surely now that everything's out in the open, you could move to a better neighborhood? Join the right social circles? You still don't get it, do you? I turned to face her. We live where we live because we want to. We keep things low-key because it matters to us. But Uriah's success is his own, not yours to claim or manage. She dabbed at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. Palmer's lost 3 charity board positions. Don's dealership is hemorrhaging clients. We're becoming social pariahs. Actions have consequences. We're your family. Family works both ways, Mother. Where was your concern when you were belittling my husband, when you were trying to push me back into corporate life? The studio door opened, and Uriah walked in, carrying 2 coffee cups. He stopped short at the sight of my mother. Margaret, he nodded politely. Uriah, she straightened up. I've been trying to reach your manager about the hospital fundraiser next month. If you could perform? No. But the publicity would help everyone. Show there are no hard feelings. There are hard feelings, I cut in. 8 years worth. What do you want from us? She demanded. We've apologized. No, Uriah said quietly. You've apologized for not knowing I was Knox. You haven't apologized for how you treated me when you thought I was nobody. My mother's face crumpled. We were trying to protect Trinity. From what? I asked. Love? Happiness? Following her dreams? From struggle? From uncertainty? Life is uncertainty, Mother. But you were so focused on your version of success that you missed how successful we actually were. The door chimed again. This time it was Francesca, carrying her guitar case. Oh, she froze at the sight of my mother. I can come back. No, Uriah smiled. You're right on time for your lesson. My mother's eyes widened. You're teaching her? 3 times a week, Francesca beamed. Uncle Uriah says I have real talent. Does your mother know you're here? No, Francesca set down her case. And you won't tell her? Because for once, I'm doing something that makes me happy instead of something that looks good on college applications. My mother sank onto a yoga block. Everything's changing. Good, I said firmly. Change was long overdue. The annual gala? We'll have to find another headline act, Uriah finished. I'm done performing for people who only value me now that they know my name. But your father can call me himself, I said, though I notice he hasn't. Francesca had started unpacking her guitar, the same model Uriah used in his first concerts. My mother watched her with a mix of confusion and resignation. I don't know how to fix this, she admitted. Maybe some things aren't meant to be fixed, I suggested. Maybe they're meant to be rebuilt, differently, better. But how? Start by seeing people for who they are, not what they have. Start by valuing happiness over status. Uriah sat down with Francesca, showing her a new chord progression. The joy on my niece's face was worth more than any country club membership. Your class, my mother said hesitantly. When's the next one? Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. She nodded slowly. Maybe I'll come back. Maybe, I agreed, but not because it's trendy or social. Come because you want to learn, to grow. She gathered her designer gym bag, pausing at the door. Trinity? Yes? Will we ever be okay? I looked at Uriah teaching Francesca, at the life we'd built, at the truth we'd finally revealed. That depends on you, Mother, on all of you. Real change takes more than one yoga class. She left quietly, the bell chiming behind her. In the corner, Francesca hit a perfect chord sequence, and Uriah's proud smile lit up the room. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction. It's showing people exactly what they missed by judging too quickly. The morning sun streamed through the studio windows as I watched my mother struggle through her warrior pose. This was her 10th class, and something had slowly started shifting, not just in her posture, but in her perspective. Better, I adjusted her stance. Remember to breathe. My phone buzzed. A message from Palmer. Don's selling the dealership. We're moving to Seattle for a fresh start. Your sister's leaving town? My mother asked, noticing my expression. Sometimes running away is easier than facing what you've built, I said. After class, Leo arrived with coffee and news. The charity gala found a new headliner, he grinned. Some cover band doing knock songs. How fitting, I laughed. My mother lingered, still rolling up her mat. She'd stopped wearing designer workout clothes after the second class, finally understanding that yoga wasn't about appearances. Trinity, she said softly, your father asked if you'd have dinner with him. Just you two. Why? He's been different since everything happened. Quieter. He spends hours listening to Knox albums, trying to understand what he missed. Before I could respond, Francesca burst in, practically vibrating with excitement. Uncle Uriah! I did it! I played the whole song without messing up. Uriah appeared from his office, grinning. Show me. She pulled out her guitar, not the expensive one Palmer had tried to buy her after the reveal, but the modest one she'd saved up for herself. The opening notes of Knox's latest hit filled the studio. My mother sat down, actually listening this time. The lyrics, she said suddenly, they're about judgment, aren't they? About people seeing only what they expect to see. Finally figured that out, did you? I sat beside her. I've been thinking about what you said, about rebuilding differently. She watched Francesca play. She's happier now, more herself. Amazing what happens when you let people be who they are. My phone buzzed again. Peyton. Your story just got optioned for a movie. Thoughts? Tell them no, I typed back. Some stories need to stay personal. Francesca finished playing to enthusiastic applause from Uriah. My mother clapped too, and for once it wasn't polite or performative. I was wrong, she said quietly. We were all so wrong. Yes, you were. Not just about Uriah being Knox, about everything. Success, happiness, what really matters. The studio door opened and my father walked in, looking uncomfortable in casual clothes instead of his usual suit. I heard the music, he said. Thought I might listen, if that's okay. Uriah nodded. Pull up a mat. My father sat awkwardly watching Francesca start another song. She's good. She always was, I said. You just never listened. He flinched but didn't argue. Progress, maybe. Palmer's leaving, my mother told him. Running won't help, he sighed. I tried that, hiding in my study. But the truth follows you. Uriah sat down with us, his presence no longer making my parents tense up. Truth has a way of doing that. I keep thinking, my father said, about all the times I could have just listened. Really listened. That's a start, I said. Leo returned with more coffee, passing cups around without the usual social hierarchy my parents expected. My father accepted his with a quiet thank you, 2 words that would have been beneath him a month ago. The country club called again, my mother said. They want to reinstate our membership. And I told them I'm busy. These classes, they're teaching me more than their cocktail parties ever did. Francesca started playing again, this time an original song. My parents actually closed their eyes to listen, not just hear. About that dinner, my father said. Maybe we could do it here instead of the club. All of us? I looked at Uriah, who nodded slightly. Okay, I said, but not because you're trying to fix the past. We do this to build something new. I'd like that, my father said softly. My phone lit up with another text from Palmer. I guess running away is the coward's choice, isn't it? It's never too late to stop running, I wrote back. Francesca hit a perfect chord progression, and spontaneous applause broke out. Even my father was smiling. Not his usual calculated smile, but something real. Sometimes, Uriah said quietly, the best revenge is showing people a better way to live. I watched my mother help Francesca adjust her fingers on the strings, my father nodding along to the rhythm, and felt something settle in my chest. Not forgiveness, exactly. That would take more time and work. But possibility. Sometimes karma doesn't destroy. Sometimes it simply clears the ground for something better to grow. And in the sunlit studio, surrounded by the ruins of old expectations and the seedlings of new understanding, that felt like enough.